Good morning, everybody. My name is Mimi, and welcome to the world of 72 Dragons. As per usual, we have one of our team members with us, Pietro.
Hello.
And we have a very special guest today, all the way from the Mexican Commission. Jose, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you for the invitation, Mimi, and thank you, Pietro. My name is Jose Miguel Alvarez. I work for the Mexican Film Institute, and I also in charge of the Mexican Film Commission.
Awesome. Now, for those of us watching who have no idea what that means, do you think you could explain it to us?
Sure. The Mexican Film Institute, IMCINE, is the public agency responsible for boosting the production, distribution, promotion of Mexican films nationally and internationally.
Okay. So that means that if any of the films came to Cannes, that would have to go through you boosting them and promoting them?
Not necessarily, but for instance, we have 3 films in Cannes, 1 in competition and 2 in the Cannes. And the 3 of them were supported by IMCINE, by 1 of or 2 of their funds. Out of the 179 films that were produced last year in Mexico, for instance, 55%, like 90, were produced with public funds. So IMCINE supports a large amount of films in Mexico, but not all of them. There are also private productions, increasingly more, and that's something that we are proud of, because that means we are building a strong film industry in Mexico.
Cool. So if you don't mind my asking, how did you get into this business? It seems like a very specific thing to get into.
Me personally, well, I did communications as a degree, and then I did a master's degree in communications as well at the London School of Economics. And then I did several things, TV production, radio production, journalism. I worked for the UNESCO office in Mexico, and then after that I've been working for the Mexican Film Institute 5 years. I'm not personally a film producer, so now I'm the head of the production department. That seems awkward, but I see myself as a cultural manager. I don't know how to put that in a concept, but I mean, I'm in charge of also public relations, also managing funds and that kind of stuff. And as well, I understand the business because I was a TV producer, and I've did my studies on communication, including cinema. So I understand the film activities and also the industry in Mexico. More or less.
Okay. So when it comes to financing of the film, because that's something that the Commission does too, do you think it's easier for people to get public financing or private financing?
It's difficult. I think it's more difficult to finance a film privately. I mean, that doesn't mean that it's easy to get public funds in Mexico, because it's quite competitive. But I could say that there's they have in Mexico they have funds it's a very straightforward process, and it's if you complete the procedure and if you have your project well developed, it's quite easy to get there. I mean, if you have a strong project, you'll get the fund. So I would say it is important to prepare the project, and sometimes those who haven't developed a project properly and who do not have the skills to do so may have some difficulties. But we try to train and to get closer to students and to people interested in getting involved in the film industry, so that they can develop projects properly. Those who have developed and produced 1, 2, or 3 or more, they get funds easily, I would say.
Oh, so you guys also participate in training people. That's very interesting. So what sort of requirements and things do you help make people easier access to the funds publicly?
Yeah, so yeah, we support, but also we try to train. I mean, we are not a film school or whatever. There's a public film school in Mexico called CCC or CCC, the Film Training Center, that would be in English. And there's another one, important one, CUEC, from the National University of Mexico, UNAM, and these are our 2 main schools, and there are many private ones. But in the case of IMCINE, we organize workshops. We have a a market called Mika, and it's going to take place in June. And there we invite students and people interested in getting into the film industry in script writing, development, post-production, marketing, because we know and we think it is important to know also to have some distribution skills. And I mean, it's of course they are free and they are open to everyone interested. And we organize these workshops in Mexico City, but also we try to open it and to organize them in other cities throughout the country.
That's actually very useful, because as a filmmaker, I didn't realize there are different commissions that could hold workshops that helped me gain a better knowledge of how to get my film financed and distributed. So that's a very great service you're providing.
Yeah. It's never enough, of course, but we are happy about these activities because they really help. And we also have other supports. For instance, we support script writing, we support project development, documentaries and feature films, and so it's kind of a scholarship, or we can also pay an advisor that could work with a scriptwriter or with the director on their project. So that's another way we could help them prepare their projects before they request public funding. So that's another way we could work together. We also have a strong short films program, so it's not only features but also shorts that we support, around 20 a year, documentary, fiction, animation, and from all the different regions of the country, and we produce them totally. I mean, we give them the money to produce it, to produce a short film, so that's easier, and I think it is important to build a career. I mean, to start from a short film, to start from the beginning, and then try to make a bigger film.
Is there a different sort of, are there different ranges for like the amount of money it takes to finance, say, a short film, be it documentary or fiction? Like, what are sort of the financial ranges that people can apply for?
Yeah, the amounts are different depending on the genre. For instance, documentaries are $10,000, I would say. Documentary is $20,000. And then fiction short films, $30,000, and animated short films, $40,000. That's kind of the support we give. We know it is not a huge amount, but that's enough to produce a short film in Mexico, at least.
That's really cool.
Great.
That's very fascinating. Do you have any questions, Pietro?
Oh, yeah, definitely. As I shared with you, I'm from Honduras, so I grew up watching movies from Mexico, soap operas from Mexico. So production from Mexico, they're very important for Latin America. And now I live in New York City. I've been in the US for a long time, and the Spanish market is very important now. It's large. They go to movies, so it's really important. And a lot come from Mexico to that market. But I was curious about the young crowd in Mexico who is interested in doing films, which this is something that Somebody to Dragons is interested. So how does that look like, that young community in Mexico who really wants to make movies? What are the opportunities they have to do what they love to do, which is make movies?
I could say there's an increasing interest in Mexico to produce films. The young people and the students see, for instance, the success Guillermo del Toro and Alfonso Cuarón and Guillermo González Iñárritu are having, so they would like to be like them. And but also it is difficult to get to film schools because there are not enough places or seats to all of them. And private schools tend to be a bit expensive in Mexico. So I think now with the technology and with all the exposition we have to the media and to films and whatever, I think you need a bit of experience first, and then training, and that's what we are trying to provide to start and to give those who are not close to film school the tools to start producing a film. So that's the way we try to do it. There are also many opportunities abroad, in the States and in other countries in Europe, etc., to start a career in the film industry. But in Mexico, I think we are opening opportunities for all who are interested in making a short film and then a feature-length film. You don't need to have a degree or previous experience to submit a project of a short film or even a feature film project. We support a large number of first films, and like 30% or even more. So I think that there's this opportunity. Of course, then it is difficult to stay there and to make a second or a third film. You need then that's you need to have the talent and the tools and the crew members to do so. But I think in Mexico we try to give opportunities to the young people.
Great.
Awesome. So one last question: what advice would you have for young filmmakers that are trying to get their films financed?
I could say be open to work with students from other, or not only students, but with people from other countries. Okay. I think in Mexico we kind of look at ourselves, but not necessarily open our eyes to other opportunities and to other people from other countries. And you can see in festivals and in all the film events that co-production, international co-production is a way to produce films. So I would say come to these film markets, although it is expensive. But in Mexico we have some film festivals and film markets where you can get in touch with professionals from other countries. So get in touch with them, get to know other people like you, and then you can develop projects with other countries more easily, I would say. And then I would say get involved. Maybe at the beginning you'll be an assistant, but that's the way you'll learn to do so. Watch a lot of films, that helps also, and then be prepared and take a look at the support you have at hand in your country or in other countries. There are opportunities, there are missed opportunities because some students are not aware of all the opportunities they have in hand. So I would say open your eyes, and if that's what you would like to do, then I'm sure you'll get it. You'll do it if you get prepared, if you get involved, if you get to know other people who are like you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so very much for that. Thanks for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, this was Jose Miguel, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.